Hey guys, welcome into today's video. Today is going to be my speed reviews for the month of June. I think I have 34 items. I think I counted correctly. In this video, you guys, I do show you cutaways of putting on some of my favorite stuff, but what I try and tell you is a little bit about each of the products that I tested that are new to the market and new to me, and I tell you whether or not I think they're a purchase or a pass, or simply just makeup graveyard. Probably items that aren't bad enough to get rid of, but definitely don't stand out in my mind. So that's what's on today's agenda. If that sounds good to you guys, stay tuned. Let's hop into it. Okay, let's start off with a category that I don't typically put in these speed reviews, but I wanted to because this is a new release and probably a pretty popular product. It was the K18 Air Wash Dry Shampoo. This was sold out on Sephora's website like almost immediately, and then I went to the K18 website and then it was sold out there, and it restocked faster on Sephora's website, so I picked it up. The reason that this is, I think, like, you know, going viral or hitting the market in such a way is because it's, as far as I know, the first of its kind where it comes in a spray as opposed to a aerosol can. Here are the results that I got with this. It's a nice spray, but because my hair is so thin, it kind of left my hair feeling textured and voluminous. I don't want to say crunchy because I don't think that's the right word, and the instructions on these are to shake it because it has one of those balls in it, and then keep it about, I don't know, maybe like 5 to 6 inches or more away from your head when you spray it. So I did that, but I still feel like it leaves my hair a little bit crunchy. It wasn't what I expected, but I think that I kind of liked how much volume it gave me, even though that's not something I'm usually looking for on a day that I'm using dry shampoo, which is every other day because that's how I wash my hair. I wouldn't say that it's bad. I might not repurchase this, is essentially what I think. I think this is kind of makeup graveyard for me. I don't think it was like what I was hoping, that it would like change my world, because I do have one that is in an aerosol can that gives me very, let me say very one more time, light kind of white cast, almost non-existent. And usually I don't even see the white cast at all, like depending upon how well I shake it. And I'll talk about that pretty soon. And I can't remember what it is, otherwise I'd mention it right now to you guys, but I'll have it in a Beauty Empty shortly. I think this is makeup graveyard for me, you guys. It's definitely not as good as that, but I do think because aerosol cans have their, you know, negative impact, and a lot of people may be trying to get away from aerosol cans, and this is a good option. I think just for my hair, for very thin, fine hair, that's the result that I got with it. All right, let's move on into eye products because that is how I applied this in the cutaway, you guys. I have some new releases and then some not new releases. These were new releases. These are from Shizwang. I mean, these are all indie brand shadows here in the single format. I don't go over any eyeshadow palettes. I picked these up on the Look Healthy store. I don't know, I'll list it in the description box. But this is an owner who is a college student that really likes eyeshadows, and I think this was her very first release or very first few releases. These are just single duochrome and multichrome. I love these. These are so good. They're so fun. They last a really long time. They're very easy to put on the eyes. I feel like you can actually see the reflection in them. And one of the things that makes these kind of distinctly different than the ones that I'm going to talk about upcoming are that they have sparkles in them. Not chunky glitters, but sparkles inside of the pigmentation that's different than the other ones that are just kind of like flat multi-chromes. These actually have a little bit of sparkle. I thoroughly enjoyed these, you guys. My blue one came broken in shipping because these did come from China. All right, the next one is not a new release, but I wanted to try something different from Bella Beauté Bar. I do have a code with them, you guys. It's KARIM. It saves you 10% off. And this is just a loose glitter shadow in Gaia. You know, I don't know why I got this. Like, I'm shooting myself in the foot because loose glitters are gorgeous, but they're so freaking messy, and this is kind of a messy glitter. I did wear these in one video that I filmed, and it was really nice. It just took me a long time to get that effect because it's so messy, and it sticks just fine with a glitter glue, but boy, like getting it to that point was tricky. It was all over me. I don't think it's like my preferred style, although I thought that the loose glitter itself, like the shade was very beautiful and all of that good stuff. The packaging was nice. I don't think it's for me. I think that's definitely a makeup graveyard item. All right, let's talk about some more new releases. I picked up 2 of the refill compact systems from Queen Cosmetics. They launched some multi-chromes, and these come individually. So you purchase the compact in different colors. I think they have like blue, silver and pink, and then you pay for the actual shadow inside also separately. I really like that they came with their own compact and you could customize the color. I thought that these looked really pretty and very shifty, and they're very, very smooth, but I have pretty oily lids in the summertime, and these creased on me like crazy. Crease, crease, crease. They're crease city for me. I actually think you can see a lot of the duochrome, a lot of the multichrome rather. The flip was really apparent on the eyes, but man, they creased like somebody just took something right in the crease of my eye and just stuck it there. These definitely performed better when I set my lids because it is summertime and I'm going to get oily and all of that, where I don't notice it in the drier months. They performed better, but they weren't perfect. They still creased on me. So I don't know. I kind of am indifferent about them. I like them, but I think that if it was between these and the next one, it would definitely be the next one because the creasing just wasn't as significant with unset eyes and didn't crease at all on me with set eyes. So this is, I think this is a new release. It might not be, from KARIM Cosmetics. This is in the shade Harmonia. Again, you got a really good flip. This is a very similar color to the one that I showed you in Shizwang, but maybe like the flip on the red is a little, or the pink is a little bit more. This one just creases a lot less. Again, on unset eyes, it's still a very, very smooth, very multi-chromy, multi-flippy formula, but it doesn't crease at all on set eyes. So I actually prefer, like between the Queen Cosmetics and the KARIM Cosmetics, I prefer the KARIM Cosmetics. All right, let's talk about some eyeliners. I wanted to throw these in today's video because I've been loving these. These are from Game Beauty. These are not new releases. These are from the Persona 5 Royal X Game Beauty collection. They're just simple eyeliners. They're called the After School Liquid Eyeliner Pens. I got a green and I got a yellow, but I love them because literally they're super matte, they're super clean, they're nicely pigmented and opaque, and I can do both eyes with one swipe and then they last all day. Like, it's just super simple. They're such a good product. Every time I get something that actually works really well for me and is like kind of one of those like hidden gems, but it's like such a simple product, I feel silly talking about it like, oh yeah, you know, go buy these eyeliner pens, go to Game Beauty's website just to pick that. But I liked them so much, and I've been reaching for them every time I've been thinking of like a green or a yellow. I'm wearing the green today. Love it, love it, love it, love it. All right, the next one I picked up on a whim. This isn't a new release, but it's from Ritual de Fille. I recently placed an order because I feel like they were having a sale. This is the Black Orb Enigmatic Eyeliner in, I think, the shade Abyss. This is cool. It's cool, you know, nice packaging, very cool, very creamy formula. I don't know how I feel about it. I kind of feel like this is Makeup Graveyard. This is actually a product that I want to try with my JCat Beauty. It's like a liquid that is supposed to make products without oil waterproof, and I don't know if this has oil in it. I think that the effect here is nice when it's more smoked out. I think this is a really good lockdown smoke out shade. I was trying to use it as liner for the waterline, and I don't think it performs as well as some of my waterproof ones, but I think if you like a smoked out look, this is really nice because it's super easy. You can like dig in here the way that you can't with like a pencil liner, which takes a lot more work. I think this makes it a lot easier, but I don't know that I do that very often, so I think that's why it's a little bit Makeup Graveyard for me. But I think the packaging is really cute, and the idea and the concept and like the performance for smoking it out was really well. It's just how often will I do that? All right, let's move on into mascaras. I do have one. It's a new release, and I haven't even tried this on my channel at all. It's the Maybelline Firework Lash Sensational Mascara. I bought this and had intended to put this in a new try-on video, but then just never did. Didn't have a bunch of new products to try at once. I actually think a lot of you guys will like this. I don't think it's bad for a drugstore mascara or for what I think a lot of people typically like in their mascaras. The wand is really pliable. It's a very wet formula, very unlike a stickier formula, one that has quite a bit of tack to it. This one is very buildable because it's a very emollient formula that doesn't get sticky. I think it is a pretty buildable mascara, but I feel like it's more lengthening and it makes my lashes in particular look a little bit more wiry. I personally love something that's super volumizing, so I don't think this does it for me. I think this is Makeup Graveyard. It's not bad enough to get rid of because it's not a poor performing mascara. It doesn't smudge, it doesn't budge. I think it adds good length, which is something I think a lot of you like, but for me personally, it's not my personal preference. It's not volumizing enough. All right, let's move on into base products. I have quite a few base products here. I recently did a video on my channel where I'm talking about all of the best matte foundations that I have tested that have held up in this humidity right now here in Florida. And so a lot of these actually didn't make it into that video, so I'm including them in this video so I can talk a little bit about it. But this next one is not included in that category. This was a new release from e.l.f. It's the Soft Glam Satin Foundation. I ended up picking up 2 shades, 13 and then 20, and I am a cross between these two, so that is what I'm applying to my face today. I like that this is an $8 foundation. I like that they put this in a squeezy tube. I like everything about this. It's more of a whipped consistency, so when I first swatched it I thought, oh no, this is going to be like their camo CC cream and it's gonna look super heavy and dry on me. I don't personally find that at all. I found that even though it was whipped, it's still a really blendable formula. It smooths out the skin. It's not too matte. It's not too hydrating. It's like perfectly satin. It's perfect. I feel like I have to say that because even though some foundations call themselves a satin finish, sometimes I don't find that, or they say matte and they're not overly matte, vice versa. But I do truly think this is a perfect satin foundation, and it has decent longevity on somebody who has combo, maybe even more oily skin in the summertime. I thought it was absolutely beautiful. I highly recommend that. And if it works for me, I definitely feel like it's going to work for a lot of different people. I don't think that it holds up, you know, if I'm pore sweating all over myself when you just walk out and like the humidity water hits you. I don't think it holds up through that. So I say, you know, if it works for me, I feel like it's going to work for a lot of different people, because I feel like on the other spectrum, like those who have drier skin could probably use something like this because it's just not intensely matte. It's like that really nice balance, medium coverage, medium thickness, medium emollients. It's just honestly, overall, it's a 10 out of 10. I really enjoy that. And I hate every foundation I've ever tried from e.l.f. except the Flawless Satin Foundation. And I hope they don't get rid of it. But I have raved about that one, and that's a $6 foundation until they raise their prices. Anyway, let's move on. All right, into the other base products that I tried. So bunch of matte formulas, you guys. I tried the Infallible Pro Matte foundation from L'Oreal. This one is in 101.5. It's way too dark for me. That's fine. I'm gonna end up passing this along because it's too dark. Either that or I'm gonna get like a mix in, because I actually really did like it. It's supposed to be 24-hour waterproof, sweat resistant, transfer resistant, color stays true, matte finish, shine control. It was pretty. It's really flawless. It's again very similar in consistency to the e.l.f. Soft Glam Foundation, that it's a little bit more whipped in texture, but it's also very blendable. It just wasn't a good, super long lasting oil controlling product for me. Once I got out there and I started sweating and the humidity's hitting me, it didn't hold up as well as the ones that I included in my best foundations in the humidity for oily skin in the summertime. So it's good, it's just not as good as some, personally, for me. Everything else about it was very nice. I think that it dries down to kind of like a powdery finish, but isn't like overly matte. It wasn't drying, just didn't hold up super well under sweat and humidity like it says it did. The next one though, I got to also test for that video. It's the Infallible up to 32-hour fresh wear foundation. This is an SPF of 20. This one's a little bit of a better shade match, but almost a little bit yellow in 410. This one did better than the Pro Matte from L'Oreal, honestly, in terms of lasting. This one is a much more liquidy, much more blendable formula. It's not as whipped in texture. Again, I mentioned this is better than the Pro Matte in terms of how long it lasted on me. I think this is beautiful. I think it's very skin-like. I feel like it's medium buildable to full coverage. It doesn't look too heavy, doesn't look too dry. All the good stuff. It lasted longer, but it didn't last as long as the ones that I included in that video. Same thing with this one. One of you guys even mentioned this, that you love this foundation, the CoverGirl True Blend Matte Made Foundation. Comfort Matte, transfer resistant. It's in L50. It's supposed to be 12-hour wear. I liked it, just like the L'Oreal Infallible. You guys, these are really good looking on the skin. They just didn't last as long. There's nothing dry about this. This one is even kind of a whipped texture, like the L'Oreal Pro Matte and then the e.l.f. Soft Glam, but it's still very blendable on the skin. They look so good on the skin. They really do. Like, none of these foundations that I'm talking about now look bad on the skin. They really smooth everything out. None of them make my face look textured or anything like that. It's just that they didn't have the longevity that the other ones from that video had. And that is literally the only reason they're here now and not in that video. But I like all of them. Every single one of them I want to keep in my collection. I might not have shade matched myself great, but I still want to keep all of these. The very last one was also another one from CoverGirl, and I never have heard of this before. I don't know if they sell this in stores, but it's the Matte Ambition Full Spectrum All Day Shine Shine Free foundation. This one's in Light Cool. I feel like this one is honestly the best matched for me. This one again is more of kind of a whipped texture, whipped consistency. I feel like a lot of these are, and that's kind of, maybe that's why they perform very similarly. So the same as the rest, super blendable, not dry, very smooth on the skin. It just didn't last all day, not in this heat with my skin. Otherwise, amazing, amazing. All right, let's move on to bronzers, you guys. I've got 3 and 2 of them are new releases. So I have the Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Bronzing and Shaping Serum. This one is in the shade Fair. I'm going to come out and say exactly how I feel about this product. It is just not for me. Again, this might be a product that I could see a lot of you liking because it is very light. It's very natural looking on the skin. But I never thought I would say this out loud, but it's too light of a bronzer for me. I don't know if I've ever said that very many times. And actually, I am somebody who likes a liquid bronzer. Maybe even more than a cream bronzer. I do enjoy a liquid bronzer. And I like the fact that you have versatility here, that you have the pump and you have the doe foot applicator, so you can be way more precise about where you apply this. But it's a very, very liquidy formula, so I feel like it has a tendency to lift what's underneath it just because it's extremely emollient, but it's also super duper light on me, not as intense as I would like. So I decided to use this by like mixing it into my foundation. I was a greasy hot mess by 10 a.m. after putting it on at 8 o'clock. It's not for my skin type that way. It's not something I like to use as a mix-in, and I think it's too light for me to use as like stamping onto my cheeks as a bronzer. I think this is makeup graveyard. It's not terrible because it's not like bad necessarily. It's just not for me. This is not something I would repurchase or recommend to you guys if you had similar preferences to me. All right, one that I do really enjoy that I just picked up again with the Ritual Defeat order is the Inner Glow Cream Pigment, and I had been meaning to try one that's in a bronzer shade, and this one is in Arrows. It looks pretty deep, and it's actually pretty deep on the cheeks, but it's like red deep. I really like these Inner Glow Cream Pigments, and I feel like I went back and forth with the blush, like do I like this, do I not like this? Because it's an emollient formula, but it's very stiff. Like it takes a second to warm this up, and so I feel like because you're digging so hard in there, you can get quite a bit of pigment. So I have been learning to like tap this off, you know, on the back of my hand before going into my cheeks, and I think it's beautiful. It looks deep in the pan, and I think it is a pretty deep shade on the cheeks, but I think it works. I don't find that it's like darker than some of my other ones that look a lot lighter in the pan. And I have come to really love this formula. Over the last few years that I've tried this Inner Glow pigment, I have found that it looks very natural and it wears well, and it's also very easy to work with. So I'm a huge fan of this. I'm glad that I picked this up. It stands out in my collection. It has that normal Ritual Defeat smell, which I can't even describe it. It almost smells like a pine tree. It's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of what it smells like to me. Maybe not as strong as the blush, but it's still there. The next one is also a new release. It's the Cali Ray, okay, Carrie, Sun Drip Skin Boosting Peptide Serum Bronzer, and I think this is in a universal shade. So won't know if this works for every skin tone, just that it works for mine. I love this, but I'm also somebody who really enjoys Cali Ray products and formulations, and also somebody who really likes bronzing drops. I find that they're very easy to work with, and most of them that I have tried don't lift the foundation underneath. I think this gives a really nice sun-kissed glow. I love the performance of this. It doesn't have, you know, the doe foot applicator that Makeup by Mario's does, but I still love it. Pumping it onto the back of my hand and bouncing a brush in and applying it to my cheeks, I don't think it looks as intense on the cheeks as it does when you swatch this out. It's a more whipped texture than the one from Makeup by Mario, which is much more liquidy. This one's thick, you know, it's not like bronzing drops, even though it calls itself a serum, you know. I don't know, it's more like a cream kind of, you know, than a liquid. That's kind of how this feels. Still absolutely gorgeous. Still loving Cali Ray products. All right, let's move on into blush. I have one that's not a new release, but I feel like I needed to talk about it. It's the Giorgio Armani Neo Nude Melting Color Balm, and this one is in the shade 60. The reason that I picked this up, you guys, is because I have been in love with the 30 shade since it released. I want to say 2022 probably. Maybe it was 2023. This is so beautiful and pigmented, and it's melting, and it can go down my arm. I have swatched this down my arm so many times, but I have always mentioned that I wish I had gotten a different shade, something that wasn't so orange or terracotta. These are getting harder and harder to find, so I ended up picking up shade 60, which is a little bit deep, but I thought that I could, you know, lightly buff this into the cheeks and it would work for me as like a mauve shade, like maybe a cooler toned mauvey plum that would kind of look flattering, maybe in the winter time or whatever. But this is dry. This is so dry. And I got this from the Armani website. And I'm doing a side-by-side comparison showing you how this swatches against the other one that's older than this one is. So I don't recommend every shade, you guys. I think buyer beware. They may be phasing these out, and that's why these are harder to find, or that they made so many in production and they're still selling the original production. Even though the packaging itself hadn't been open, I still think the product itself, depending upon the environment that it's in, is drying out. So buyer beware. I still love the shade 30 that I have. I don't even want this. It's so dry it barely even picks up on a brush to get it to my cheeks. Okay, here's another product that I picked up. It's from House Labs. It's one of the highlighters actually. It's the Bio Radiant Gel Powder Highlighter in the shade Fire Opal. I think I talked about this, you guys, already. Talking about, I got this so they could try it as a blush because it's so deep as a highlighter. It sucks. It's so bad. This is not at all what I was hoping it would be. It does not look delish. And when it swatches, it's so delightful. But it doesn't pick up on a brush super well. Like, you don't get the base pigment that you do when you swatch it or looking in the pan. It's like everything that transfers to the brush is basically all of the top coat gold, and so that's basically what it looks like on my cheek, and then it comes out splotchy. This genuinely wasn't made to be a blush product, but that is how I was trying to use it. I did not get the results that I was hoping for. I think I'm probably going to end up like passing that along to somebody else, because in theory it would be gorgeous. It did not perform the way that I wanted it to. And I love every other cheek product from House Labs. Oh, except the bronzer. I've never tried that. All right, this is a new release from Buxom. It's the Plump Shot Collagen Peptides Advancing Plumping Blush, and this one is in Cheeky Dolly. I like the formula. I hate the shade. Dolly was kind of a cool toned purplish mauve shade, and I thought that this was going to be like the equivalent of that in this cream formula from Buxom, but it isn't. It's like this terracotta shade. It's kind of this warm toned reddish shade. So I hate the shade, but the formula is really nice. The longevity is good. This is a moussey texture. It's like a cream to powder. It really buffs in and looks very airbrushing on the skin. It lasts all day. It's just a moussey formula that performs really well. I just absolutely hate that shade. So I think it probably was a little misleading on the website. Otherwise, I think that performance is great, shade is bad. All right, some more new releases. I have 4 shades of the Sun Kisser blushes from Maybelline. I don't like these. I don't like these at all. Let me tell you how I swatched these. Moving from the closest part to my thumb over to my pinky, these are the shades. Uptown Glow, Soul Search, Blazing Blush, and then City Sizzle. The ones that have sheen to them are terrible. They lift the foundation underneath. They're a different formula. They're much thinner. They don't perform well at all. The 2 on the end that are a little bit thicker, they're more whipped. They're more of a matte finish when they get to the cheeks. They actually perform pretty well, but they're not great in terms of blendability. I'm seeing an uptick in the trend of all these liquid blushes coming out. Last year was cream. This year it seems like it's liquid. I think it's harder to do a liquid formulation than it is a cream formulation. And so I feel like I'm testing a bunch, and it's a hit or miss. About 50% of the time I'm liking the formulations, and about 50% of the time I'm not. So I don't enjoy any of these. If I was going to keep one, it would be City Sizzle, which is the red one. But I don't think this is like my favorite shade. It's just my favorite performing. So I'm going to end up passing these along. I don't recommend these to you guys. I think there's just so many other formulations on the market that are better. And I picked this up and had this like to be tested in my collection for a while, but it's not new release. It's just the Makeup Revolution Blusher Reloaded in Peach Bliss. I picked this up at Target on a family vacation, like, I don't know, back in like April at this point, and it just sat there. I didn't use it. It looks like it's super soft, and if you touch it, it's very pillowy, but I almost feel like the design interferes with how it applies to your cheeks. It never picks up on my brush super evenly, so it seems to look a little bit patchy on the cheeks. It's also a very light shade, and because it's a little bit of a softer formula, it's a little bit chalky. I just find like I'm digging, trying to get pigmentation out of this. And when I do, it doesn't always like come out evenly. This is just, you know, it's an okay formula. Like, you can make it work, but why? You know, when I have so many other blushes in my collection that are super standout products, that's just makeup graveyard for me. You know, it's probably going to be a pass. It's not bad, but it's a pass. All right, the next one is a fairly new release from Give Beauty. It's the Dewy Plump Collagen Cheek Tint. I don't like this shade either in Hibiscus. I feel like this is so similar to the Buxom one that it just comes out this like terracotta red shade, even though Hibiscus to me is not that color. I don't know. There's all different color Hibiscus, but I always think of Hibiscus as maybe like a little bit of a cooler mauve shade, but maybe I'm just crazy. I actually really like this. It's not as intensely dewy as some other products that call themselves dewy. It locks down on the cheeks really well. It looks airbrushing. It's maybe even a little bit more flat looking than I thought it was going to be, called a Dew Plump. But I think it's a really good formula. It's super easy to bounce into the cheeks. It never lifts anything. It lasts all day. I do recommend it. I think just set your expectations to not overly dewy. And I would definitely like look at the swatches before buying a shade, because this one is way warm and way deeper than I thought it was going to be. All right, let's move on to some highlighting hybrid products. We're not really in the highlighting category, we're more in the blush lighter category. I have the limited edition release from Fenty Beauty in Fresh Peach. This is called the Hot Cheeks Velour Blush Lighter. And I've seen other people try this on and say that they didn't like it. It wasn't really for them, but I enjoy this. This is what I was hoping that the House Labs was. Just a little bit more base pigment and less like sparkle. It's not negative on the brand that I'm trying to use a highlighter as a blush. It's more about how I was trying to use that product. So for this, because it's meant to be both like a blush lighter, as it's called, Velour Blush Lighter, it's still lightly pigmented in terms of base pigment. You're definitely getting a lot of the top gold, but you can really actually build up the base pigment here, and it's really pretty. And I don't think it adds more texture than my face actually has. So I really enjoy that. All right, the last two that are blush lighter categories are probably not even blush lighters. That's just how I use them. These are the low lighters from Danessa Myricks. I have Low Key, which is orange, and I have Unbothered, which is pink. These are the same formulation as her cream blushes from last year, that they're like a cream to powder formula. They're a little bit more kind of moussey feeling, but I feel like you get decent base pigment with these. They also last a lot longer than as lightly pigmented as they are. Like surprisingly, they'll last on me like all day, and that's probably because they're a cream to powder formula. They're not meant to be blushes, but I think that they actually show up on me. So for me, I think that they're a really good product. Again, seem to apply really nicely like on top of pretty much anything, and I like that it's more of a lightly pigmented formula. Overall though, I think they would look really good as just a cream highlighter. All right, I do have some new releases, but these were just the testers. These are from Ritual Defy. They're the Creature of Light Full Face Serum Illuminator, and I bought like a little tester set that came with all 4 shades, and then they threw this in so that I could apply it. These are interesting. Like we're definitely seeing a ton of these kind of products that come out, like full face illuminators, highlighting mix-ins and all of that. I did not like this formula. Like it's just a little bit too thick. It's not like your nice like serum or liquidy formula that blends in really well with a bunch of other products. This just is a much drier formula for me, and it pilled up on top of other products on my face. So I honestly, I don't know if it's just the testers that were like this. I really didn't enjoy the way that they looked. I could never get them to work for me. And I use products like that as like a highlight. I wouldn't like fully mix it into my foundation, so it might work better like that, but as the way that I tried to use them, I didn't enjoy them. All right, here's another new release. It's the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear Highlighter in the shade Champagne Glow. And mine came smashed when it shipped from Ulta. This was another one that I didn't even try on my channel. It's good. It's fine. It's decent. You know, it's icy, it's champagne-y, whatever. It's fairly smooth. It's not a highlighter that knocks my socks off. Is that weird to say? Because I wanted my socks to be knocked off from the L'Oreal Infallible line, because usually most L'Oreal products really do excite me. That one I just kind of felt like, it's good. It's fine, if that makes sense. All right, you guys, let's move on to the last category, which is lip products. I picked up 2 from Bella Beauté Bar because I've been trying to try more things from indie brands other than just eyeshadows, and I'm pretty sure these are supposed to be like duping the Dior lip oils because of this like top lid. So I picked up one that is Juicy Green Apple, and then I picked up Black Veil because it's a sparkly black lip oil. This one is pH changing though. It definitely comes out purple on the lips and it leaves like a purple stain. Otherwise it's like gorgeous and beautiful, and these smell delicious. They don't have a bad taste to them. Yeah, I don't even know what they smell like. They just smell really sweet. The candy apple is like so lightly candy apple, but it still has a candy apple smell. These are cute packaging. I love the Black Veil. I don't think that the sparkles really translate, and if you don't like a pH changing product, you wouldn't like this, but it's so cool. Like it really is cool. I really enjoy this. I don't think these slip off in 5 seconds. They're not like so emollient that you don't get a little bit of longevity with these, so I enjoy these. All right, I bought a full size of the Dior Lip Maximizer. I hate it. I don't love this. This one is in 009. I don't mean to say that I hate this. I think it's okay. I think it's decent. I feel like there's been a lot of hype around Dior lip products, and slowly I feel like I've been kind of pressured to try them because there's been so much hype, and I had a little tester and I liked the tester. I think this formula is opaque and fine. I think it's a little bit sticky, not overly long lasting, and expensive for what it is. I'm comparing it to all the other tremendous and cool and different lip products that I have in my collection. I don't think this stands out. That's all I'm gonna say. I think it's Makeup Graveyard. This one's an interesting one. Thornbite Peptide Plump Cream Lip Oil from Ritual Defeat. I got a really interesting shade. I got Dark Thorn, which is purple. This is weird. This is like definitely weird, maybe not in a bad way weird, but it's a cream lip oil, so it's got like a thickness about it, like a whipped lip oil texture. Super smooth, decent high shine, but it's like creamy. You know, it's like what a cream lip product feels like. I don't know any other product that is like this on the market. I personally haven't tried anything, so I think it's interesting. I like the shade, but I also think this is kind of Makeup Graveyard. I don't know that I fell in love with this that made me think I'm gonna keep reaching for this particular product over and over. All right, one that I did not like was from Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is one of the sparkly lip glosses. It's called Diamond Lip Gloss in Honey Diamond. I saw this in store and I was like, oh, that's mine. That's coming home with me. I don't know if you guys have watched me talk about lip products, but I'm into a sparkly lip. I'm into a shimmery lip. I like all that zazz on my lips. So this is right up my alley in terms of like the kind of finish that I would love on my lips, but oh my God. This feels like sand. It feels like beads of sand on my lip. It is so rough. It hurts. It actually hurts. It definitely feels like super gritty on the lips. I think that the sparkles aren't even like super duper intense. I mean, it would be cool if I could like try a different shade if the formula wasn't so rough, but this is rough. I don't recommend. I think it's a pass. I have one lip product here from Kaima Cosmetics. This is one of the, oh my gosh, I think it's just like the multi-chrome lip glosses in Blazed Bloom. You guys, this is so intense. It's super opaque, very pigmented. The only thing about this that I dislike is how much it emphasizes my lip lines because it's such a tacky formula. Like this really, really locks down. You can really see the shift. Everything about it is good except that it emphasizes my lip lines like too much for me to feel confident when I wear this all by itself. So maybe if you didn't have as many lip lines as I did, or you topped it with something, like it would be nice, but I don't know. It's super fun to have and play with. I don't think personally all the lip lines that I have make it look super flattering on the lips. All right, one of my favorite lip products from this month is, and I want to say this is a fairly new release from Bella Beauté Bar. It's the Lip Dewy Gloss. This is cool in the shade Truffles. I got a pretty deep shade, but regardless of that, the formula is super cool. It's so opaque. It's such an opaque gloss that it definitely like stains the lips after the gloss fades. It's super high shine though, and it's not a sticky gloss, although it does last on your lips for hours. I absolutely loved it. I also love the packaging here too. Like that's super cool and super sturdy. This is one of my favorite lip products I've tried all year. All right, the last one, and I also love this. This is from Natasha Denona. It's the Golden Glimmer Gloss that came out with the Golden collection with the eyeshadow palette. And I think it only came with one shade. Yeah, just shimmering lip plumper. Okay, so I didn't realize that it was a lip plumper when I bought it because I bought the collection so fast. So I put this on, and it's one of those lip plumpers that actually sting the shit out of your lips, and actually it visibly plumped me. I do have my dedicated video trying this on, the Natasha Denona Golden collection. I think you can like visibly see my lips getting plumper. I even mentioned in that video, or in like a comment to that video, that I was gonna keep trying the formula because I actually liked the way that it plumped, and I wanted to see how long the stinging lasted. It definitely burns, but it goes away. Once it plumps your lips, it literally stops burning like immediately after that. I don't think the plump stays. I think the plump fades pretty quickly, but it's kind of a novelty. I actually think I see visible results with this, where I've never noticed with lip plumpers before. I don't hate this. I like the glimmer. I actually really like this. I didn't think I was going to, but I do. Anyway, you guys, I am done reviewing all of the products that I tested for the month of June. I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. I always love to hear in the comments below of the stuff that I have tried that maybe you have tried and how you felt about it. If you guys are not currently subscribed, I'd love to see you subscribe so you can stick around. I think I just kicked the camera. I'm out of here for today, you guys, and I hope to catch y'all in my next video. Bye.